Hi everybody, today I am continuing No Sticker September with a video on highlighters. Now, I, like many of you, own a bunch of highlighters. My favorites are probably my Zebra mild liners, although I really like the new Sharpie S-Note Creative. What I really want to talk about is how I think highlighters might actually be probably the most versatile planner supply, especially if you are doing pen only like in this month with no stickers or anything in September. I think highlighters might be the most useful thing you could possibly own. And in this video, I am going to demonstrate that with some different reasons. So today I'll be using my Zebra mild liners and this yellow paper house planner as my kind of demonstration tool. Now the first couple of tips that I have actually go back to videos I did last week when I talked about colorful pens, and that is to color code or pick a color scheme out for your planner. I'm not going to go into that. You can watch the videos from last week to get a better idea of those. Just imagine substituting your colorful pens for highlighters. Now, one of the most basic ways to utilize highlighters in your planner is to highlight words, whether you're color coding or you just want to make them pop. On Monday morning, pick up trash. And then on Tuesday, we've got, I don't know, work. And then on Wednesday, we're doing laundry. So just imagine here for a second that we're doing like a fall theme spread. So I'm gonna grab out some, got like my red and my marigold and my apricot, right? So we're gonna use these colors. So I might just utilize the colors and highlight some of the words to give it that like fall vibe. Maybe not highlighting every single word on this spread, like then you might have a to-do list here with some shit on it, and you wouldn't necessarily highlight that. You would just kind of sporadically pick a color scheme and highlight some of the words, which goes back to doing a color scheme in the first place. If you're color coding, it's the same thing, except, you know, with the color coding. If yard work was always in blue in my house, and then you know, some more work was always in green, then I would just highlight those in those colors, and suddenly my shit is color coded. Like, this is kind of obvious, but you know, I'm being Captain Obvious today. In some of these videos I feel like I'm being Captain Obvious, but you never know the thing I might say that might get somebody like, ooh, I didn't think of that. So Captain Obvious can be useful. Now, one of my favorite things about highlighters, and somebody who does this a lot on their Instagram is Jen Dufour, is to just pick the colors you're using that week, but to utilize them for like boxes and arrows and so on and so forth. Like, I want to maybe pick out some like tealy and blue-green colors or whatever, because I love these kinds of colors. Like, these are some colors that I love. And so you might draw in like a box for X number of thing, and then some other day you might have like laundry, and you might highlight that and then draw your arrow downwards. You see how that could like work really well? You could do squiggly, go back to the stuff I did in week 1 of this month, but just do it with highlighters to add some different color or whatever. And one of the things I've been doing in my planner is using like hash marks to say, okay, well, this is the amount of time that I'm going to be doing on something. Well, it works even better when you do it with a highlighter. Now, that takes me to one thing I do want to talk about real quick, and some different ways to add like a block of color with a highlighter. You can just color the whole thing in. Like if this is the block you're drawing in of time right here, and you want it to be like a lot of color, then you can go and just actually fill the whole thing in. Personally, I actually don't like the look of this all that much. I don't like how sometimes, this paper not so much, this is really thick paper, but with some planner paper, it makes it look kind of wavy because it's got so much ink on it. And there comes a point where I've just filled it up with color where it just feels really blocky to me, and that's not a personal thing that I like. If you like it, then more power to you. But one fun thing you can do is draw in your box and just do like a scribble of color where it colors the majority of it in. That to me can look really interesting. Or let's say that that's the same box area you want to cover. just scribble it in without the box. That can look really nice too. You can see that I did some of that right here when I colored over some of these words. Instead of blocking them in neatly, I used a motion like this or a motion like this. I love doing that because it looks scribbly and kind of arty, but at the same time gets your point across. Another thing you can do is take, whether you've got, you know, the pen tip point like this with the mild liner or the top of the chisel tip, and do what's called stippling, where you dot color in. You can dot color in to make it look pretty nifty, and we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But like, you can dot color in, you can draw in some quick lines. You can do wavy lines like this. There's all sorts of ways you can fill in the color over a word like, say, work or sex. I don't know, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Coloring in with highlighters in different ways can make really like fun things, especially if you repeat the same thing. If this kind of like blobby colory way of doing things like this is your way, like that zigzaggy way of doing it, but if you repeat that same kind of zigzaggy way of doing it throughout your weekly spread, it'll actually take on a look of like coherence, cohesion, and that's also really cool. All of these things can be really useful, and a way that they can be really useful is like washi tape. You know, whether you're going to use it, for me, for example, my kids, I share custody of them. And so if I was going to pick them up on Friday and then have them through the next week like I normally do, what I could do is take a highlighter and say down here, like right in, well, I go like this, just use that same zigzaggy motion to like represent a type of washi tape, and then put my kids there, and that would be a simple kind of washi tape. You can draw in a box of that same area if you wanted it to be a little bit more neat, but instead of just coloring it in with color, you could do stripes and then maybe add a different color in between your stripes. This is maybe not the best color combination, but whatever, we're all friends here. So that's one way to create washi tape. I just talked about using stippling, so you could fill it in with a bunch of dots. And this is another great way to add a bunch of different colors. Like there's the pink, and then we could add the green, like tealy green to it as well. And that's one way to create like a washi tape look. You could draw in like kind of circles and then color them in and create a washi tape like that, and maybe fill in the background with a different color to create like a spotted situation. There's lots of things that you could do to create washi tape. Your washi tape could go, you know, this way on your planner, or you could go up and down on your planner. You can use it to fill in the top of your planner, the edges of your planner. Anything that you would do with washi tape, you can do with highlighters. The only thing is if you worry about washi tape having something kind of peek through, it's going to be way worse with the highlighter. And unlike with washi tape, if you use whiteout tape under your highlighter, it's just going to look janky. I'll demonstrate, because actually I'm not going to demonstrate because I ran out of whiteout tape yesterday and I haven't found my other whiteout tape, so never mind. But it looks awful. Trust me on this, highlighter on top of whiteout tape looks like shit. Now, another thing that can add a lot of color to your planner, regardless of where you put it with highlighters, is to use them to fill in trackers. Like let's say you're putting a water tracker in the bottom of your planner here, right? You could use this to color in the same color and fill in the tracker that way, or you could fill in your tracker with different colors that match your spread. Sometimes in the past, when I've done trackers with highlighters, I have picked specific colors for specific habits. I have also just alternated colors. In previous bullet journals, I'm going to show you one that's super not completed, because this bullet journal has been like all sorts of fucked up. But like notice here, I use different colors with my highlighters to represent different things on my tracker. Using highlighters in your trackers, whether to color code, whether to just match your spread, or for what thing you want to do, could match different days. Highlighters are really handy for that, because the colors tend to pop, and that makes it a lot brighter. Plus it's a little faster to color in squares than with a color pen, but you can do the same thing with a color pen. I already mentioned I don't like coloring in like this, but if you are living the time blocking life, then that actually will be helpful. So for example, if you are going to go to work and you use this color for work, let's pretend this is an hourly, and this is the time at work you're gonna be there. Now you can color it in all the way with straight up and down stripes. You can color it in however you want to, but that's great. And then let's say that orange is your color for your commute. So you would add orange on top and on bottom. And then you get home, and let's say that cooking is yellow, so you're gonna spend some time making dinner, and then you're gonna spend some time Netflix and chilling, so we'll use purple for eggplant. Like, these colors really look heinous together, but whatever, it's time. But you could use your highlighters to time block in your planner, and this goes great with color coding. It's basically what I do on Google Calendar, except in your planner with highlighters. If you don't like the colorful look of filling everything in, like I said, I don't, you can do the exact same thing. This might be the wrong color, but whatever, I'm just gonna pretend it's the same color. You can do the exact same thing, but just draw your squares in. Oh, I'm using different colors here, but whatever. And so you're still time blocking, but it gives you room to write in like commute, work, commute, dinner, sexy time. Using highlighters to color block your planner for time, it works really well. Another thing that works really well with highlighters is, imagine this is an hourly planner, and you can use for both color blocking or for other things, is to use your highlighter just on the numbers to talk about when you're doing certain things. But that still leaves the entire side here to write in, like laundry, sheets, Cindy, kids. Do you see what I'm saying? So you still have room to make your to-do list, you still have room for everything else. You can do that with color coding, or you can just do that with whatever colors you want to show that you're using that block of time for something. Now, time blocking is all well and good, but what I want to talk about here towards the end is the couple of really creative things that will both go with some of the stuff we'll talk about next week, and also just stuff we can do now. And that is using your highlighters as color for embellishment. Work and laundry seem to be my go-tos. That tells you my priorities. You can use a highlighter to just add a little bit of color to the sides. You can use a highlighter to write over it, but you can also write the cursive, like let's say party. You could write the cursive in the highlighter, and then you can go back and write inside the highlighter, which gives it a slightly different look. Or you could write the cursive or printing party. And then you can just add some lines to it. It allows you some room to play without needing to know any fancy lettering. Using the color, using the highlighters can just help you experiment with your handwriting rather than needing to know how to do a bunch of fancy shit. You know, you could write fancy party in regular writing and then take a bright color and go over the top, or you could underline it. There's a bunch of things you can do with color and the highlighters to make it fun. And to be fair, you can do this with colorful pens too, but the fun with highlighters is that they're so transparent and like bright that you're able to sort of make things pop without using like super concentrated, saturated color the way colorful pens tend to work. And then finally, a fun thing you can do is if you decide to do any sort of doodles, whether you're doodling an arrow, or let's say I will leave a link down below for some of my simple weather doodles, but you can take a little bit of color and just add some to your arrow. You can use your highlighters to color in the little doodle, just a little scribbly, or you can color it in more fully if you don't like the look of like super scribbly colors. But using the highlighters to add pops of color. I would not recommend necessarily that you just coat your planner in highlighters unless that's the look you're going for. For example, if you really want an 80s theme spread, you could add like, you know, these little situations kind of up anywhere, just little lines with some bright colors. And that would make a super 80s theme, like looking planner. You can put color everywhere if that's the look you're going for, but if you want the highlighter to actually highlight things, I would suggest use it more sparingly. The point is that with highlighters, with a set of highlighters, especially something like the mild liners where you have a good amount of colors, or the super tips like I just talked about in Tuesday's video, you can add color, you can use it for color coding, you can make it pretty, you can make it functional, you can do both, you can do all sorts of things with just a regular pen and an assortment of highlighters to make your planner look really fucking rad. And if you want to see an example of that, on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, Sunday the, what day is that going to be? Sunday the, I think it's the 20th. Sunday the 20th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time here on my channel, I will be doing a live plan with me in my planner using a black pen and my mild liners, using all of these tips I just talked about to show you how you can do a full week in this kind of spread and have it be both functional and awesome looking without having to spend any extra money. If you already have a set of highlighters or a set of markers, stick with that. Don't go buy new ones for this. Use what you've already got, plan along with me, and we will make some really fucking bright and awesome spreads. I would love to hear from you in the comments below your favorite way to use highlighters. Do you think highlighters are super useful, like the use you get for the money in your planner? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe, wash your hands, subscribe, and until next time, my dudes, peace out.